side of SureBuddy, I see 2 units of Coco, 1 flame, or actually 3 units of Coco and 1 flame. So pretty similar amounts of specialty to each team here. SureBuddy and MyRules bringing about the same amount of Rattan Pikemen. And hopefully that's just a UI bug, or the side of SureBuddy is bringing 2 units or 3 units of unmastered Rattan Pikemen. If it's not a UI bug. I know there are some crazy strats on this map. I know one that was used a long time ago. We sallied out a couple of members to try to take out some of the culverins on one side to prevent them from destroying the wall up on home point, so that way home point is easier to hold. But you kind of have to do that right at the beginning, or they're going to have units there to watch from the gate. But the side of SureBuddy is using all of their units to fall back, which is something I don't know, honestly. I have not been able to cast this map too often. It's my first time casting it in general, so I think SureBuddy is just going to go back for a supply hold, which you kind of see in a lot of Siege games. But even though you see a supply hold in like Siege or Ranked, people try to still hold A for 1 unit trade or 2 at least once. Couple of starting arty members from the side of SureBuddy trying to use the starting arty. Other than that, everyone on the side of MyRules is just kind of spread out right now with their units, using the culverins across the map. Doing a pretty good job of using most of the arty, a couple of pieces being left to their own devices and not being used, but I imagine as soon as this breach goes down and as soon as the gate goes down, they're just going to push in and try to go find where SureBuddy's going to be holding. All right, so let's look at the unit counts. Pretty similar to last match, but SureBuddy bringing around the same amount of like tier 5 and T4. Actually, quite a bit more T4 than T5 than last time. They had about 300 T5 last game. Only about 800 T4. MyRules bringing significantly less T5 and a lot more T4, but they still have, I think, way too much blue and green. Like, I get it, the meta means to bring a lot of Rattan Pikemen, but with Coco and Flame up, you'd almost rather bring different kinds of units, in my opinion. Because the Coco and Flame are just going to obliterate the Rattan Pikemen. So, it does look like we are going to see just a pretty standard supply hold here. They could run Coco along the wall into different places. Actually, something I wasn't keen on looking at. The side of SureBuddy has taken out almost all of the trebs on the side of MyRules, which I think is a pretty important thing to do on this map, taking out as many trebs as possible. So there are only 2 trebuchets left on the side of MyRules, and it's probably the worst 2 that you would want up as well, because they are behind that gatehouse. So they're not really going to be able to hit anything towards this supply point. They might be able to hit a couple of angles on home, but not really anything good. So MyRules just out on the trebuchets. So SureBuddy having the wits about them in this one. We're going to see if MyRules can rebound from last match And now we are seeing a couple of the artillery pieces being used. A lot of the culverins are still up on this wall, so they're just going to have to use them as like anti-arty pieces or shooting a culverin into a unit, which like isn't the worst thing you could do, but definitely not the best. We do see a little arty nest being set up on the far side here for the side of SureBuddy. The Treb not really going to be able to kill that unless both hit dead on, which is going to be a tough one anyway, because the RNG with Trebs in this game is, you know, RNG. We see quite a bit of the units come down onto the ground for the side of MyRules, so it's looking like they are going to do a two-part push here. Probably push in through the gate or climb some ladders while the rest of their team tries to push across the wall and into this hard hold spot that SureBuddy has set up. The RD advantage should be in favor of the side of MyRules. I believe it is bugged at the moment, showing that MyRules doesn't have any more RD to set up. And I don't believe that to be a case. And Anil being picked from the side of MyRules. Don't really know where that happened. Probably over here on the side, on the ground here. We're probably going to see another pick happen on this poleaxe. Because the dual blade is probably going for that culverin that's up there where that small RD nest was. That's exactly what he's doing. So MyRule is going to take 2 hero losses there. They're probably going to wait for both of them to come up. And they're going to set up a couple of pieces of mortars here on the wall now that they have most of the culverins along the wall taken out. There are 9 Trebs left. 9 Trebs total, but only 2 trebuchets to actually shoot the Trebs with. So, only 2 left. We are seeing a unit of Arbalest climb here. SureBuddy actually using a Javelin unit, which is not something you see every day in the tournament. I believe that is green Javs, but I could be wrong. Nope, that's actually Jav Sergeants. So it's 2 units of Jav Sergeants being used on the side of SureBuddy to poke the units of MyRules that are up on the wall. But there are just so many mortars now all the way up and down the wall that this is going to be kind of hard for SureBuddy to hold without any arty to use for counter arty. I believe they use quite a bit of culverins at the very beginning to shoot those Trebs. But we do see a unit of Alchemists trying to heal all the units that are on this supply being pelted by all of these mortars, and the units being pelted inside this little rook here for the stairs to go down to the supply. Not seeing any unit movement yet from the side of MyRules. They have plenty of time here, 11.5 minutes to just arty the other team out. SureBuddy probably losing a good amount of units to all of this already here. We see the Alchemists are now dead from the side of Temple Shot. See, 1 unit of Stalwarts has lost 11 models. A unit of Jav Sergeants lost 6. So on and so forth. So a lot of these units are going to be a little bit tough on their health bars. And we are seeing some ranged... I wouldn't say ranged. Some of the Arbalists trying to shoot at these Jav Sergeants, but the Jav Sergeant's doing a good job at trying to poke down some of the units from MyRules. Mortars shooting once again from the side of MyRules over here by the gate as well. We're seeing some unit movement. I'm going to try to zoom out as much as possible so you guys can see both unit engagements here once they happen. The Jav Sergeant's still poking at those units from my rules. I think they should have pushed with the mortars instead of giving them time to, you know, go back and heal their unit one at a time or bring some unit like Alchemist up to heal. Because now they're just going to get poked out from the Jav Sergeants since they don't have any Arty to shoot the Jav Sergeants with. All of the Arty from the side of my rules is probably almost gone. And they're kind of just playing this game of chicken with SureBuddy right now. Because if you at least pressure while you're shooting the mortars, you can try to find out where their specialty is hiding. And the specialty from the side of SureBuddy is pretty far away from the fight in general, because it is on this home side wall versus the supply side or gate side wall. There's almost no units up here on the side of C unless they were to come from this rook. So, I mean, you could technically try to pressure it with a unit climb, but I wouldn't really do that yet either because they would just get caught. And they have a unit of Rattans up there. The Jav Sergeant's moving along the wall, probably going to try to get an angle to throw down. That's what we're seeing. They're trying to throw down onto the Rattan round shields here. And now we're finally seeing some movement. Here we go. Seeing some movement here. The flames already firing on the side of my rules. SureBuddy not having a set of flames in this little cubby here, which is going to be kind of hard for them to hold, I think. But the Cocos are throwing from the bottom. I don't even... Are those green archers? Are they countering with green archers right now? Is that what's happening? That's what it looks like. It is Iron Cap archers. Alright. Park would be very happy right now because he likes using that unit. The funny green archers to shoot at things. But my rule's not really pushing in on the gate side. They kind of just sitting there getting shot at for free by the green archers, and Jav Sergeants taking a beating at the moment. And my rules also not able to push through that rook with the flames because the green archers blew up the flames, which is not something you would hear every day. So, the side of SureBuddy now pulling their set of flames. I wonder where they're going to try to use those at. If they're just going to go try to hold them somewhere. They might have just sent them away. Yep, that's exactly what they did. They just sent them away. They don't even need them. I don't even think the Coco were used. So we're seeing a lot more of the units from the side of my rules go down towards the gate because they have Cav that they're not able to use currently. They're sitting on a bunch of Yan Yadao. Having some Coco from the side of my rules hide back by the B points. Doesn't look like they're going to use too much infantry this time around on the side of the wall unless they climb them, and that's actually what they're doing now. They're climbing some stalwarts, some arbalists. So we'll see what they end up trying to do, but I'm not really too ecstatic seeing YYD come in for the second push already. It means may not have much infantry left to try to bust through to this supply point. Only 5.5 minutes left, and we've only seen one unit engagement, and the supply for my rules is pretty far away. So you're not able to double pull, and if you can't touch that supply, then SureBuddy is definitely going to double pull, and you're just going to lose out. And we see a quick pick here from Smexy on the side of SureBuddy, picking off Despotic on the side of MyRules. Can't be too aggressive when you're playing a ranged class like that. You gotta be careful. Those dual blades are tricky. I'm just trying to fill the void, y'all. Been a lot of away from the fighting this game. See the Coco moving up a little prematurely here with the Madao. They run back to the behind the shields here as the Jav Sergeants are attempting to get trebbed, but they're not really going to get anything done with only 2 trebs there. Alright, here we go. The side of MyRules is pushing up once again. Pushing up a lot quicker this time, so the Jav Sergeants don't really have time to break their block. The Jav Sergeants now focusing on the gate. So let's see if the Cocos can get anything done for this hard point hold they have right here. The Merms going straight in. Oh, nope. The Merms came straight in. Doesn't look the best right now for SureBuddy in here, but it is enough. They are able to hold. The units on the side of MyRules did not do enough here. Let's turn back for the gate. The gate hasn't really gotten anything done either. They're just kind of sitting here eating the Jav Sergeants. So the side of MyRules is not really having an answer for SureBuddy right now in this supply hold whatsoever. There's only 3.5 minutes left, and they still have 1,100 units to use. And I think a lot of them are on 2 hero deaths. I wouldn't say a lot, but there's quite a few. There's going to be quite a few on 2 hero deaths, and they have 1,100 units to go through. So I think bringing too many blues and greens here on the attack for Great Wall might be hurting them. I think you should have brought probably some more purples and some more golds to help you really push through some of these choke points here. Let's see here. I want to see how many unit kills these Jav Sergeant players have. Temple Shot, 76. Danny having 136 units with just Jav Sergeants is pretty insane. Toxic Timmy, 182 unit kills with just Jav Sergeants here. Also pretty disgusting. Here's the unit quality left. MyRule is not having almost any purple quality left. Meanwhile, SureBuddy has 822 still. Seeing another attempt on the wall. Don't know how well this is going to go for him this time. They are being thrown at already by Jav Sergeants, so these stalwarts are going to have less block as soon as they get here. And now they're getting hit in the side and just losing units for free. This side of MyRules is now finally pushing in from the gate. But no one's able to touch the supply. And SureBuddy just shooting their flames into the gate here. Absolutely obliterating the side of MyRules. MyRules not really having a good job or a good time up there on the wall either. They're just getting obliterated on both sides of the fight. SureBuddy going to feel really good about this one, as they're probably not even going to fall below 1,200 units by the time this one's over. And we have Stalwarts and 2 units of Rattan Pikemen up here. MyRules is actually somewhat winning this side of the fight. Now some Rattan Pikemen coming in to reinforce the Halbs and ISG. That's going to be pretty well dealt with up there on the wall, and that's going to be all she wrote, folks. This one's a little bit difficult to keep control of 2 different angles of the fights, so sorry about if I missed anything. But overall, really good showing from SureBuddy and MyRules. I believe that is it for them in this tournament. Yep. That's a good shot there from Temple, leaving those 2 up. I kind of agree. They don't really hit anything meaningful when you're trying to hold this supply point. So You have that one trebuchet there. I believe it's the one on the left can hit things in this area here. And only hitting one isn't really going to get anything done for you unless it hits a unit of specialty or ranged, and none of those really got hit. So that's going to be it, folks. We have a 2-0 from the side of SureBuddy, and the MVP is going to be Toxic Timmy with 248 unit kills, and he killed 109 stalwarts. I guarantee most of those are with Jav Sergeants, and 4 flames, probably Jav Sergeants. Absolutely insane. And then we have Temple Shot with the number 2 spot going 1-0-6 with 117 unit kills. Followed up by Danny going 2-1-5 with 158 unit kills. As we move over to the side of My Rules, it is going to be, I'm just going to say Arch, 1-3-0, 71 unit kills, and I2I going 2-2-0 with 72 unit kills as we head over to this post-battle analysis page here. And you're going to see almost every unit engaged for the side of SureBuddy going in their favor here. SureBuddy losing a lot of units on this final unit engagement, but that's just because My Rules brute forced the gate, but SureBuddy was able to double pull from the supply and just reinforce and push them back out. And they had flames here, so I don't think they were really going to get through it anyway. The specialty from the side of My Rules not really effective in this match to get pushed. So, yeah, I mean, just a really good showing. 30 hero deaths on the side of My Rules and only 4 from the side of SureBuddy. So, regardless of who you're playing against or what your team is, that's pretty impressive for them. So good shouts to SureBuddy. Hope everyone has a good day. That is going to be it for me. I will not be casting the second match.